Hello there, welcome to Five Figures. So this is part three of my Sasha Banks action figure collection. And this makes 15, by far the most figures that I currently have. It used to be Harlequin. Harlequin used to be the number one figure I had multiple of. That's no longer the case. I don't have any of those, hardly any anymore. Second place is probably one of the Ninja Turtles like Michelangelo, but first place does in fact go to Sasha Banks. And so we're going to run through the last set of Sasha Banks figures we have. And this is kind of, well, it's kind of odd because some of these are basics and some of them are old basics. Not saying Sasha Banks is a basic B, but this is a basic figure. So this is a newer basic Sasha Banks, which means you're only getting a ball joint and a fairly limited one at that, at the hip, a single jointed knee, and a rotation at the calf. You'll get a rotation at the waist, ball joint at the shoulder, no upper arm swivels or anything like that. And then you'll get like this pivot swinging elbow, single joint, and then you just get a wrist that rotates and a head that barely moves at all because of the hair. The screen printing is good. All of the paintwork on these things is excellent. They always are, even on the basics. They do a fantastic job. However, the articulation leaves it unable to do a lot of things as far as like posability, playability. The rigid back just kind of ruins it for all sorts of whatever you'd want to do, like wrestling moves, other than like a frog splash or something. And for that reason, that's why I don't really care for basic figures as much, because they are so stiff, or they seem to be stiff. But even as far as basics go, this Sasha Banks feels quite a bit stiffer than even other basic figures. This one is going to fall into the same category, same articulation, except the only difference being that she has different shoes, which means she has her ankle rotation in a different spot. This is a single pack, and I believe this came, oh, maybe this was a single pack too. I can't remember. I think this was a single pack. However, I'm relatively certain this came in a 2-pack. I can't remember with who, but this is also an older one, so it has elite movement to it. So you've got the ball joints at the shoulders, the upper bicep swivel, the better elbow, like it doesn't pivot like the other ones do, but you've also got the upper bicep cut, and then a wrist rotation. She has upper thigh cuts, which most basics don't. She's got a pretty much better knee under this knee pad. I'm pretty sure it's double jointed. And then you get a rotation at the top of the boot and an ankle pivot that just turns forward. It does not rotate. It's not a rocker. You get a rotation at the waist, but you get a great ab crunch. And this makes a lot of difference in your wrestling figures, and it makes them so much better. So this, of course, is a much better figure. I cannot remember the line that one came with, or what series number. I can never remember the series numbers on these things. They're just so crazy with them. But so next up, this was kind of an odd one. This was when WWE was doing the zombie figures, and this is Zombie Sasha Banks. And she was a little bit more expensive than a basic. Like, I think these retail for like $12, where your typical basic only was like 9 or 10. 10, I think. And she was like 12 or 13, which is less than an elite, but more than a basic. And for that reason, she came in basic packaging, but she has stuff that you would only attribute to an elite. She comes with accessories like the sunglasses that don't come off, a variant head sculpt that is different than all the others, of course. This chain, you get the extra ab crunch going on right underneath the top with the rotation. She has basically all elite articulation, but for a lesser price, if you're interested in having a gray undead monster version. Now, as far as that goes, there is not a lot of zombie about her except her color, like her eyes. She has like one kind of boot toe missing thing, and there's a cut on her leg. But considering some of the figures had whole chunks of their their torso gone. I think Triple H was just like half of a skull with like his little crown on top. Really horrifically damaged and mutilated figures. But, you know, she's pretty much untouched, so I don't know if that means they cared more about her or less. I'm guessing probably less, because she was less gruesome. But anyway, definitely an interesting figure is dead Sasha. And then finally, or firstly, this would be the first Sasha Banks figure. This is her first time in the line figure. This is her NXT gear. So she's only got one sleeve wrap. She started doing 2 sleeve wraps later, but now I just noticed none of these are doing the sleeve wraps anymore. So that's kind of weird. The paintwork on most of these I can always say is like dead on. This one is really not so much. I know there's supposed to be an SB on here, but it is really hard to see and make out. It just kind of looks like a mess. Same way on these. It's supposed to be like Sasha Banks as it is on all of her boots, but these, it didn't really come out right. So I think this is before they started doing some of that finer screen printing, and this one just had like a lot of paint issues that was kind of very meh. She does, however, have some of her better hair sculpt that I think she ever came with as far as the figure goes. This shoulder is a little bit weird and big. But you'll notice as a basic release, she also has elite articulation, sorry. So this is one thing WWE used to do and Mattel used to do with their figures. Your basic men's had a much different articulation. But for the longest time, the basic female figures had this exact same articulation that the elite figures did, simply, I think because they didn't want to resculpt them or bother resculpting them. And so, yeah, you could buy a basic figure that had the same articulation as an elite, and that's what really got me into picking up women's division figures, because it's like, wow, I can get elite quality for a basic price. And so I appreciated that. Anyway, these all I think classify as basic figures, but you know what? They go into the wall of Sasha Banks figures, and I do appreciate having them. That is the last of them I have. That makes 15. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your thoughts if you're a big Sasha Banks fan or not. And I guess she's a Mercedes now. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. That's my story. Catch you guys later.